through that 1 second, it's hard to process information during pain. Because that pain takes over and you can't think rationally. You're thinking about fight or flight, save yourself. That's not a rational thought. That thought that's going to get you through hard times. Most people fail that 1 second. So what happens, what I do, I start thinking logically. I calm my brain down because your brain wants to get the book out. It's about gaining control of your mind, putting things back in the proper perspective, and then saying, I really do want to be here, and I'm going to have a bunch of these 1 seconds, and I have to learn to control these, because if I fail one of these 1 seconds, I would not be a SEAL, I would not be a doctor, I would not be a lawyer, I would not be whatever it is. So that's how important that 1 second decision is. It's all about your mind takes control of you. You got to say, I run this fucking earth. There's no way to make it out here. I mean, you can't just always be, head down in the sand. You have to learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights, these battles, you gotta be your own coach, you gotta be your own motivator. Because there's a lot of people in this world who want to see you make it because they think you can take a piece of their pie. But I've learned to study people before I react. Because there's no successful person in the world who's in a good headspace that's going to ever attack anyone in that kind of manner. There's always going to be something wrong with it. And you got to always dive a little deeper before you get your feelings hurt. Take time. Take that 1 second back and study them. Because most people who are in good places, they don't care about what you're doing. They don't care about what you're doing. They don't try to destroy you. They actually will try to build you up versus destroy who you are as a person. So that's where I'm at now in life. Is most people who do that, they're in a very dark place. As you get better, as you get more successful, you open the door for people to critique everything they do. And most of the people who are critiquing you usually aren't where you are. And all the critiquing comes from people who are really at a low level of life, which is sad. But what we do, people who are on the upper level, here in the haters at the lower level, like I said, you're never be a hater to better than you. Just do it. So I started making these mixtapes with all of these hate messages about people talking shit. And it became such a source of fuel that it was amazing because I know why you hate me. You hate me because you're probably in the bed right now. You're probably an underachiever. You're probably somebody who doesn't want to do anything with your life. So I make you question everything about yourself. So I'm going to continue making you question yourself by coming out here and being even more successful. So what happens is, there's days where I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to do this today. I'm like, oh, hang on. So I listen to that while I run. Sometimes play in the house. Is that comical? Is that inspiring? I'm actually inspired by it. Because I know I'm going to get hit. There's an art to get hit. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. You have to give yourself confidence. So it starts with that run. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself. And that's all great. There's also a built belief. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can.
Not only become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Work yourself out.
Yes, because a lot of people, they simply wake up in the morning, pound your chest, look at yourself in the mirror, applause. To me, is that everyday resume. The things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You must build belief. You must build confidence in is that I can show up. Instead of the path of least resistance, just to prepare myself for the majority of the time. And you realize the hard work, you can outwork anything. Now, how bad does that work? It starts with yourself, man. You gotta start diving into those things that you're afraid of. You don't need confidence by going to the spot that makes you feel. It's gonna be a false reality. And the second round gives you that challenge, all you want to do is go back to what gave me confidence is that happens. What gave me confidence was spending years and each day trying to learn how to read and write all alone. Realizing I can't walk away from her. I can't. I can't. I'm getting confidence, not being afraid. It's the overcoming of fear. That's what makes me confident is facing these things, overcoming them. And they know they have to marry them. And face them. And face them against the grace of this. It's not that confidence. It's in the disconfidence. It's in my confidence. That's what's going on. Happiness, peace, enlightenment, it's all up here, man. It's all up here. It's all up here. It's got to learn to go to basic. That's the hard work. The physical standard is not what we need to meet. It's a mental standard you must meet. I now know that there is cells. Most people quit. I just learned. If you take that mindset and you want to flip that around, that's what made me powerful in my body form. And so I said, I want to do this. I'm going to give myself a challenge every single day until the fear goes away. Sure. And I feel like that's what more of us should be doing. And that's what how you live your life. That's all it is, man. And it helps me feel so much more confident when you overcome that from here. Yeah. It's like this doesn't have control of me. It's like you get such more peace. A lot of us speak in elements. I used to speak in elements. I don't really know everything that comes up on that substance. It's real. We don't have those feelings in our bodies and our minds. Active. A lot of us who are afraid of something, we allow our minds to choose the path of least resistance, so we go a different route. I'm afraid of something is telling you must do that. Life is one big mind game, and you're playing with yourself. But you cannot lose perspective of where you're coming from. I'm trying to give people a different thought process of life. Where failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that. But it's these few moments in life that you have, like for me, I always talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. That one clip, and I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to be. There wasn't a guy that won. Wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up, like being knocked down. So I realized that 2 minutes and 13 seconds changed my life. So all at once, I saw something that I needed to be in the world I was living in. Maybe my story to get someone in 2 minutes and 13 seconds daily to change them. Everybody's got a story. We don't share on social media. We share our nice life on social media. We haven't done it. I'm just a real talk about life. People tell me it's a something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day. Whenever darkness comes, you know what it is. It may be different for you than it is for me, but you go back to your insecurities. And then when you go back to your insecurities, you then look for comfort within those insecurities. And we all look for that comfort that the world used to give you. When you were sad, you were sick. You look for a wife, husband, you look for comfort. It's in those moments you must retrain your mind to think differently in health. The mental standards must know how far you've come. I'm walking in a room now, and I know that hours and years and decades I put into David Goggins. That's something. It's not on the wall. It's not a trophy on the wall. It's not a medal on the neck. I don't care how you perceive David Goggins, because through my journey, I figured out the one piece I was missing. I thought it was cars. I thought it was women. I thought it was everything. The one piece I was missing was me having the courage to face myself. Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this. If you sit down and you're not smart, you have a disability, and if you still want to be at the top of your class, I want to get by. When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, if I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting there, that guy that valedictorian studied for an hour, and you know I caught him. I have the work ethic to catch you. That's when David Goggins got really invented. At the kitchen table with 20 spiral notebooks that were empty, and then they were full. And when you go through that, that's what happened in my storage room. You go through these spiral notebooks of your life, and you're like, this is how I learn. It's unbelievable. It wasn't until I got real sick and my life got real quiet. I went from running 205 miles in 39 hours to I couldn't get out of bed. My life was taken from me. And that's when I realized I hadn't taken time to think about what I did in my life. I did all these things, but there was no finish line. I finished the race of life. I don't even receive my medal. I go. I get in the car and I go. When I started figuring out life, that I was thinking so much to the table. I said, "What's my God, man? I was this dumb, fat, kid bully. And now I'm a 180-pound person, lost 106 pounds in less than 3 months. Learn to read, learn this, learn to do that." I was like, I need you. I was fueling my mind and everything. I never took time to say, my God, you came from this hill, and you're here. I had come 8,000 miles from where I started, but you never know that. You're still $7 a month place. So it's that quiet place. It's that place by yourself. It's those hours and years and decades by yourself in the grip of life. When life has you by the throat and choking you out, and you're sitting there calm because you're trying to figure it out. You're not panicking. You're not quitting. You're not throwing the towel. You're saying there's a way around this. And when you figure it out, when life has you gripped in advice, and you can figure that out, that's when you overcome. That's when you overcome. The journey getting there was harder than going through it. You know? So that's one thing about life, man. It's that journey that makes you who you are.
Actually,
I wasn't. But the best way to recover for me is to do something at a very low heart rate, because therefore your blood's flowing to your body. As your blood's flowing to your body, refuel it with the nutrients. Because then if your blood's flowing, the nutrients is going through all your cells in your body. All that glycogen is now flowing. And a low heart rate, so it's not burning you, it's refueling.
Yeah.
So every Sunday used to be that. And it kind of snowballed into, as human beings, we believe, I told so many people, before I give them a workout plan, we're talking about recovery. Everybody that hears me speak, they want to go straight to recovery. Work out first. Work out first. If you're talking to me about recovery, work out first. We are always looking for, like, whenever I talk to people, people take my words and they put it in a way to where they want to feel comfortable. This guy, you know, they want to put you in a box. They want to put a title on you. No, you're putting a title on me to make yourself feel better about yourself. If you read this book of mine, you see where I came from. This porcelain was not built. This porcelain was not made by God. This person was built. I made this person. I made this person by diving into the insecurities that life gave me. Because now they're yours. They're yours to own. If you're not smart, call yourself dumb. It's okay. Because you are. But take that now, you put yourself down. If you're fat, call yourself fat. I used to be 300 pounds. You want to talk so soft to yourself, looking for that recovery day. And that recovery day is everything in your life. Everything in your life is a recovery day. We're looking for it. It's not coming. It's not coming. Get over the recovery day. And that's the mentality I took with me. And what happened through that process was all the frivolous things of life started to float away. I used to tell people lies so they would like me. And I was so insecure. When you start to build yourself up, you start to have the one thing that we don't have is confidence.
Yeah.
Real, authentic confidence, hard work. Everything else goes away. You no longer look to other people for your self-esteem. It's right. You never know. I walk in a room now and I know the hours and years and decades I put into David Goggins. That's something. It's not on the wall. It's not a trophy on the wall. It's not a medal on your neck. It is actually a feeling in your heart. And people, why should I smile? I don't have to. Yeah, I do still look at my face. I'm a very focused person. But the feeling I have in my soul and in my heart, that's why I need to smile. I don't need to smile. I don't need you to look at me and say, oh my God, you look happy. Because half of us are happy. We're giving you something that we think you want to see. I don't do that anymore. I don't care how you perceive David Goggins. Because through my journey, I figured out the one piece I was missing. I thought it was cars. I thought it was women. I thought it was everything. The one piece I was missing was me having the courage to face myself. We all have a story. And I believe that we're all teachers. We're all teachers. And if you learn something, then give back what, like what you learned. What's the point of it? You're wasted. You get all this knowledge of what you learn. Some people may think you're crazy. Some people may, make a title on you. But it's those few people who are like, you know what, I need to hear that. So you have to put yourself out there. The hardest obstacle was myself. I started realizing more and more and more that all these people were gone. What was haunting me was me. I can't control my dad. I can't control when people call me. I can't control all these things. But they were things that kept me down. It started to become my reality. My reality was what they made out to be. And I became the most important conversation you've ever had with your life, in your life is with yourself. And my conversation was absolutely horrifying.
What are you saying to yourself?
I'm dumb. I'm nobody. My dad was great in mental warfare. A drunk, insecure man will make everybody around him feel like him. Because he wants to give you no power. And that's why he was so mean to my mom and myself and my brother. Because he didn't want anybody to get above him. He wanted to keep you down low. So when you're growing up with all this stuff, all this hate, and it wasn't the beatings. I got the beatings all day. It was a mental torture. So when, at a young age, your parents parents put a dialogue in you of confidence, or you're nobody. So that voice in my head was, I'm a loser. And then it was confirmed when I got in school. In the 3rd grade, I was falling behind. They were putting me in a special school.
Yeah.
With kids you can't learn.
Right.
It was confirmed, what my dad was saying. So that confirmed it. Then I started cheating. So I started realizing, you know what? I'm taking the easy way out of the head. And it started snowballing from there. Now the kids are calling me. But it wasn't all the kids. So what happens is you start to get this picture that everybody hates you. Because your reality becomes so big that you can't see the clear picture.
It might have been 3 or 4.
That's it.
Doing it over and over.
Right. But it was the whole town. Everybody hated me. So
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's when it became toxic. And that is where I became my worst enemy. And once you do that on a daily basis, it's not about the money. People's not working out. Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this. When you sit down and you're not smart, and you have a disability,
Yeah.
and you still want to be at the top of your class, I didn't want to skip by. When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy that valedictorian studied for an hour, and I caught you. And I am dumb. But I have the work ethic to catch you. That's where David Goggins got really invented. Was at a kitchen table with 20 spiral notebooks that were empty. And then 3 months later, they were full. And you can go do that. That's what I have in my storage unit. You go put these spiral notebooks of your life. And you're like, this is how I learn. It's unbelievable. There's no miles. It's not about the miles. It's that. Having a discipline every day and say, for me to learn this one math problem, it's going to take me 10 hours. And that's where and you realize through hard work, you can outwork anybody, no matter how badass they are. But that's the part people don't want to dive into. There's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was giving 100%. I wasn't. But I was only 1% from making that money, from being where I want to be, from having everything in life that I ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays, because most motherfuckers are weak. Basically, I made a decision about 3 years ago that I was a loser. I called myself a little loser. I don't feel that way now, but that's how I felt a long time ago. And I made a decision to go all the way in. And a lot of us have this mindset of balance. It's important. We all have family, a lot of us have kids, a lot of us have wives, husbands, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, all that shit. But if you want to be part of that 1%, which I know all of you want to be, sorry to say, you got to throw that balance shit in the wind. The only way you can do it is if you go all the way in and talk to your family and say, I'll be home, but not today. So the thing about it is, the unbalanced mind allows you to do everything at a level that most can't even fathom. They look at you, they see you grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. And while they are at this mediocre level, you slowly rise and rise and rise. I call it front loading. If allowed to be right now, I want to be the best. You front load your life. So then that family that you're unbalanced with, you bring them on board when you're 40, 50, and 60 and say, okay, now I'm home forever because I'm making this during the month. Whatever the hell are you trying to do? So it's all about that mindset of how hard you want to go. And a lot of people come up here and talk to you about a lot of bullshit. And they go home and they write you to motivate you. Right now, I'm a 47-year-old smoke jumper out of British Columbia. I took 5 days off of jumping fires. I'm a retired man, got a ton of money, but it ain't fucking enough. I still must grind. It's never enough. There's never a finish line. Because once again, you all are here for a reason. personal because I don't want anybody in here besides this man. So if I say something and it's not who you are, just ignore me. Don't come up to me after the show's over and give me a life story about, hey man, what's wrong about me? I don't know who you are. I'm just talking in general fucking terms. But what I'm trying to say here is the reason why I did not succeed in the first 24 years of my life is because I had developed belief. And this is some after school specials from Sesame Street that you look, oh, believe in yourself. Your mom and dad, you wake up, believe in yourself. That ain't it. People think, why do you run 100-mile races, 200-mile races, breaking pull-up records? Why are you a smoke jumper at 47 with all this fucking money? The way I build belief, I have to do it at that level because of the darkness in which I came from. A lot of you came from a lot of different places and have zero belief. That is something you're not going to get from a book, and you're not going to get from some motivational speaking. I get it from hours and hours and days and decades of being in the grind. So when my time comes, when I fail and I fail and I fail, I go back to that big belief that I built myself, and I know I was making. So whatever your belief is, how do you gain that belief? Gain by going into that dungeon and staying there. So whenever I eat that, I'll get my big. Go back into the belief jar. Pull out that belief. So whatever you guys got to do that, that's a necessary thing to do. The big thing for me is we're all 1% away. And that's the one thing I didn't realize when I was younger coming up. I put everybody on a fucking pedestal because of how I came up. Oh, man, this person's smarter than me, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the whole story. But when I sat back, and I failed out in the Air Force trying to be a pararescue. And I gained all that weight, and I was some fat, 300-pound pest control guy spraying for cockroaches. This is when I came up with only 1% away from true greatness. I'm sitting there, and I'm the same dude that I was that quit pararescue. And now I'm a 300-pound fat ass. And then 3 months later, I'm trying not to be a fucking baby C. Lost 106 pounds. So what I came up with, there's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was giving 100%. I wasn't. I was only 1% from making that money, from being where I want to be, from having everything in life I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. It's that 1% that we wake up in that morning and like, you know what? Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Well, guess what? That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays. Because most motherfuckers are weak. For real. And all you do is when you are trying to hit that motherfucking snooze button on life, in the morning, on life, just know this. It takes is thinking about those weak motherfuckers who are taking the game. And trust me, you will come up real fast. Like I say, it's easy to be great nowadays because motherfuckers are just weak. Very soft. I wasn't really smart at the books, but I was real smart when it came to life. And I was able to sit back and watch her mistakes. I was able to see how she struggled through life and how I don't want to struggle through life. And I was able to see she never picked me up. The biggest thing she did, this is the honest to God truth, and she didn't even know she did it. When I would bust when I would fail, and I was at the bottom of the sewer, she never picked me up. She never gave me that cookie. She said, hey son, you know, it's gonna be okay. She didn't have time for that. And sometimes she gets upset when I talk about my past because it paints her out to be not the best mom. If I had any kind of mom in that kind of environment, I would have never made it. Because she forced me, for whatever reason, she forced me to, you better figure this out, or you're going to be a statistic. And this is something that she didn't sit down and tell me. I realize this. This is the world that is in front of me. And what most people do is they see this world. And they look at it as an excuse to get out of it. I started looking at it as this is the ultimate training ground for the rest of my life. I have all these valuable lessons. If you look at the world right now today, it's not a nice place. But I'm very prepared for it. I'm prepared for all the failure coming my way. Prepared for everything my way. And that's the biggest lesson that she taught me by not teaching. By never saying it's going to be okay. Matter of fact, she told me the exact opposite. Why it sucks. It starts with yourself, man. You got to start diving into those things that you're afraid of. You don't gain confidence by going to a spot that makes you feel good. It's going to be a false reality. In the second life gives you that challenge, all you want to do is go back to what made you confidence, or what gave you confidence. Is that happy spot? What gives you confidence? What gave me confidence? Spending years at a kitchen table trying to learn how to read and write on my own, realizing I can't learn the way you learn. I can't, but I can learn. What gives you confidence? Not being afraid. It's overcoming the fear. I just stuttered severely bad. So right now, I don't know how many people are going to watch this. You know what gives me confidence? It's when I no longer care if I say or start stuttering again. That's what gives me confidence, is facing these things, overcoming them. And maybe not overcoming them every day, but facing them. And facing them, pretty soon like this. You know what this is? Where's that? It's not in that comfort zone. It's in a discomfort zone. It's where my confidence is getting built. That's where it's getting built. But people want an easier answer. There has to be an easier way. There's not. I'm sorry. I've searched for it my entire life. I coach a lot of people nowadays, billionaires, who call me on the phone and say, man, I'm still missing something. It's because they did what they were good at. And they had this beautiful family, 2, 3 houses, cars, everything. Has everything worked? On the outside looking in, like, my God, man, how can you be unhappy? I walk around with a backpack with all my stuff sitting around, no car. Now I walk around, happiest person in the world. Nothing. Happy as hell. It's because I found out the whole key to life. It's not in all that. You have to face yourself. So many people live to be 100 years old, and they die miserable, having everything, because they never examined. I call it my live autopsy. You never examine this. Happiness, peace, enlightenment, it's all up here, man. It's all up here. You always feel like you have nothing. I achieved so much. I was a Navy SEAL. I've gone through Ranger School. I've gone through Delta Force selection training. I've done so much. I went tours of miles, pull-up records, everything. Learned to read and write, became pretty intelligent. And I still was like, man, what was wrong? It wasn't until I got real sick. I talked about the last chapter of that book. I got real sick. And I was about 38 years old. I'm 43 now. And my life got real quiet. I went from running 205 miles in 39 hours to I couldn't get out of bed. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But once again, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
What's that?
In that moment when my whole life changed, I went from a guy who worked out every day, trained every day, to a guy who couldn't get out of bed. My life was taken from me. The one thing that kept me going was my training.
Yeah, you didn't have
I didn't have anything.
I couldn't sit alone. And not train.
And that's what changed me. And that's when I realized I hadn't taken time to think about what I'd done in my life.
You haven't reflected yet.
I had reflected. I'd done all these things, but there was no finish line. I still believe that, but you must have time to reflect.
Yeah.
I was just going. I finished the race of life. I wouldn't even receive my medal. I'd go on.
You're like, on to the next.
I get in the car and I'd go. When I started figuring out life, that I was leaving so much in the tank, I'm running 40%. I was leaving so much in the tank. Once I realized, my God, man, I was this dumb, fat kid being bullied. And now I'm a 180-pound person, lost 106 pounds in less than 3 months. Learn to read, learn this, learn that. I was like, I need more. I was fueling my mind with everything. And I never took time to say, my God, if it came from this hell, and you're here. So those insecurities, and this is how I explain it the best way. SEAL training became pretty hard, and a lot of guys were getting through it. So they designed a SEAL prep program. That's right. And it was 2 months. In the last 2 years before I retired from the military, they sent me there to train these kids to get ready for young kids. So when they get to Navy SEAL training, man, they were physical studs. They were running, swimming. I mean, they were hybrids. But they get the buds, and the same amount of people click. I done the SWAT. We were training bigger, stronger, faster quitters. It's not about right. We were diving into this. Everybody's got a story. We don't share it on social media. We share our nice life on social media. We all have a dungeon. I'm just room to talk about mine. Yeah. Most of us I want to talk about. I want to talk about my dungeon. I wasn't getting into the dungeon of these guys' minds. I wasn't building that so-called mental toughness. Mental toughness isn't something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day. So when something hard would happen to these kids, like in Hell Week, it would draw on something that made them very insecure. And they look for comfort. Whenever hardness comes, and you know what it is, it may be different for you than it is for me, but to go back to your insecurities. And then when you go back to insecurities, you then look for comfort in those insecurities. And we all look for that cookie that your mom used to give you when you were sad, when you were sick. We look for our wife or our husband. We look for comfort. It's in those moments you must retrain your mind to think differently in help. Everybody says, man, you started this crazy shit. I don't know what
737.
But I didn't start anything. Let's say there's one person dancing alone. He was crazy to do that dance. It's not the person that started that dance that is the hero. It's that second motherfucker. Because then everybody knows it's okay. So it wasn't really me. It was that second motherfucker who followed me on Instagram that started this. So it could be, who knows? But see, that's the thing about it. So you guys right now are following his lead. That's how this starts. It's never the leader. It's always the first follower that starts all this. Everybody in this stadium has a savage mentality. It's a primal instinct, whether you believe it or not. We all have it. I'm trying to hurt every mother's feelings in the world. Anybody who thought I wasn't going to be somebody, it's never enough. Dog. I got a little bulldog at home, and I can't feed that mother enough food. I feed him, he will eat, she will eat until she's dead. That's me. I leave no scraps on the table for anyone to pick up. And that's the mentality that you must have if you want to be great. And the thing about greatness is this. The sad thing about it, most of us never even think about it because we don't believe it's even in our arena. We think greatness is Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, or Serena Williams. It is. People have a lot of money. You have to put that in your Rolodex. Until you start to think that way, whatever you think about, trust me, it will become exactly what you want. I want to be the hardest motherfucker to live. Am I that? It doesn't matter. I don't care. That was my goal when I was a 300-pound piece of shit. I think I'm not too far away from that motherfucker now. Maybe. But that said, you gotta put that shit on the table. If you don't, it's not going to happen. Like tell myself, don't just jump out, weigh 200. That's the dumbest shit. No, one thing I will do is I would start to be scientific on your recovery.
Okay.
It's not so much the distance, it's the recovery. If you're trying to put 300 miles, like, what's the distance? So what's the time frame for each one?
Like 4 months. And it's gonna be next year.
Okay, well, think about this. I did 800s in 8 consecutive weekends. So when you're out there, just think about this. 300 pound, bad, with your dress marks went out there and said, at the end of the day, that's what it takes. It takes you. So I have this thing called the 1 second that says you may have heard it, but I've been broken it down to this. So, military training, help me, what that is, right? Still training.
Yeah.
It's 130 hours.
Yeah.
The reason why people fail, it's not the 130 hours that hits you. It's the 450,000 seconds. And you only got it on one of them. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
People, you can get 449,000 seconds right. You will lose by 1 fucking second. So when you're out there, keep that shit in your fucking mind. Don't go out there for 100 miles. It takes 24 fucking hours to do seconds, because that's how much focus and dedication it takes to whatever the fuck you do in life. It takes every fucking, that's why people lose. Because think about that. To be wired in to that fucking long. That's what it takes. I want to be great. And I have a thing called the foxhole mentality. A lot of us got motherfuckers from high school, college, and grade school, losers that we came up with. But them motherfuckers ain't worth shit. I can't have my foxhole, man. It's a survival position. I'm going to the war now, man. I'm going to war every day of my life because I want to be fucking great. I can't speak this way to everybody because people are so wrong and so sensitive. I'm telling you right now, man, empathy, there's a spot for it, but not when you're trying to be great. The thick skin, the tough way is the only way. And people got to be able to handle these hard conversations around you because there's managers and there's leaders. Manager makes sure you clock in everybody. Okay? A lot of leaders have become managers. You want to be a motherfucking leader. A leader takes you, knows how to talk to you, and not make you so you become the best you can be. And empathy, a lot of times, about this much. Talk about this much, but the second you say empathy too long, you just fuck your whole team. So make sure, teach them, not empathy, teach them thick skin so they can get better. It's not going to hurt you, it's going to help. The first thing I do with fear is I study it. I study the God. I've been afraid of a lot of things in my life. I still am. I study it out of my fear. And once you study the fear, you realize 9 times out of 10, it's just anxiety. Something you gotta get the fuck over. Fear is only a second. Anxieties will last for a long time. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I'm at 15,000 feet looking down, I'm trying to book an airplane. That ain't fun for me. That's fear. But when the day or two before I jumped, that's anxiety. But I went home years ago and I studied parachutes, studied how they started packing, started learning how they open, started learning about function procedures. Before I knew it, I was intelligent about my fear. And once you get intelligent about your fear, guess what happens to it? It starts to drift away. Because now, fear is some of the unknown shit. I became a genius at the shit I was afraid of. Therefore, the fear became my big. And that's a true statement, friend. And no one is Satan. It wasn't like someone came down here and guided me through life. When you figure this out on your own, the amount of pride and dignity and self-respect you have. That's why I walk around the streets with a backpack and just like I don't need anything else. You figure it out by going inside yourself, by callousing over the victim's mentality. You're always a victim, even if you have everything in life, until you realize what you've achieved. You have to first realize what you've achieved. And my mom has accomplished so much in her life since my father. But she's done that one step.
Really? She doesn't acknowledge it.
She continues to go back to the dungeon of her past life.
And live in that
And
space.
live in that space. Or she's living in the space that she's in now and reflecting back on, my God, this is what I've done with my life. Most of us, we live in a box. And we don't want to go outside that box at all. Ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. But we do, we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind. This is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. And we take away the possibilities. You could be this, you could be that, you could be all these things. And I never thought at 300 pounds I could be that sick. So if my mind was shackled, me and you would never meet. There'd be no book. There'd be no book. There'd be nothing. So when people are there, that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself. It would change everything for me. If I can start the hardest training in the world, talking and graduating, so my mind fed off that. You are now, from the weakest man, you're now the hardest man to ever. If you can do this, if you can do this. Life is one big mind game, and you're playing with yourself. Is it true? I don't care. It got me through the hardest training. Started out broken. Where most people quit, I had just started. And if you take that mindset and you're going to flip that around, that's what made me powerful. And my body followed. And 3 months later, my stress fractures were healed. I was running on them. When the mind and the body connect, and you give yourself a way out. The only way out for me at that time was death. Wow. I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
Or I'm going to die.
Or I'm going to die trying.
Yeah.
Period. And my body said, Roger that. We're going to get you through this. And as you hear that 100-mile race I did, I started figuring out more and more and more and more about at the other end of suffering is a life that no one, and I'm not talking about go out there and kill yourself. Don't take these words and flip them and say, oh my God. No. They just be uncomfortable. I call it suffering.
Physically injure yourself.
Yes. Not saying that.
You're going to be out for 6 months.
That's right.
That's no good.
That's no good. I'm not saying do what I did.
Yeah.
I was in a spot that life forced me. I had a choice. I had a choice to be this guy or the guy that's in front of you. I had a choice. I chose this path.
And you're still choosing it.
And I'm still choosing.
You can go back to that guy at any moment.
Because I found out something through those stress fractures. I found out something through facing all these things. I found out a whole other world, which is why I walk around with all my stuff in a black backpack. I found out a whole other way. A whole other way of no matter how far you get in life, you have to be able to go back to the scratch in your mind at a moment's notice. You can never get so far beyond scratch. What that means is, when you accomplish something in life, if you're going to go back to scratch and go back to that $7 a month place where I once lived and visit that place for a long period of time, if you were here and you go back to scratch, you would now be here. Scratch is what makes you better. Scratch, friction, obstacles create growth. There's no friction when you're this far up in the game anymore. You think there is. You know, that's right. We achieve so much of friction, it's minor. Because why? I'm sore. I'm going to get a massage today. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat today. The refrigerator is always full. So your comforts are now, so your discomfort is now very minuscule to your discomfort back here in the $7 a month place. So you have to go back to the total discomfort to then raise your level of where you're at now. I'm not saying stay there and stay there. Visit. And then you raise your level.
Take a day trip.
That's right.
Yeah.
Always take day trips.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have to go back and visit it. I don't have to think about it. It lives with me now. Every day of my day of life, that feeling that I had to go back and think about, I found a way to just have it.
How did you?
It's constantly there. I have a self-talk. It's called my cookie jar. It's a constant reminder of David God. Every day of my life, I believe in quiet. There's no growth outside of quiet. The world's too noisy. Your mind needs quiet. You need to find who you are. Because what's my purpose? Why am I here? You're not going to find it nowadays unless you lock yourself in a quiet room in your mind and find it. It's too noisy. For me, I can be in a busy street in New York City, horns honking, and I walk around with like nothing. It's me and myself in a quiet spot. And when you are constantly reflecting on who you are, where you've been, the journey you've gone through, the journey you continue going through, the feeling is always there. You don't allow the world to pull you so fast that you forget. You don't allow yourself to pull you so fast that you forget. It's not about staying in that moment. It's about you want to get to the point where that feeling follows you like breathing. Because it's part of your DNA. But it's made. Like these calluses on my hands right now, they're made. They are now on my brain. This is now a part of it. And things start to become so easy in life. It's the perspective that 20-year-old had. He looked at that mountain and thought, he looked at his hands, he looked at the amount of hours of pulling that tool and raking that ground and cutting those trees and moving them. That hours of work. He looked at his feet and said, these old shoes, dude. It's that perspective in life that we lose. And that's that story that most people may not be in. It's that story I always want to have in my life. That you cannot lose perspective of where you come in life. If you can sit back and wait, if you can wait 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years, when you get to that point where you finish, that's the feeling. 12 years. It says wait 12 years to get there. That's what keeps you going. Is you gotta feel. I'm doing it for 1 second. Being a perfectionist is the worst thing that can happen to a person. You never live. Like when I lost that 106 pounds in like 2.5 months, whatever it took me, that was the biggest trophy of my entire life. I didn't care if I graduated in some training. I didn't care. What I just accomplished in that time frame, it's massive.
Yeah.
There was no trainer. There was no like. It was funny about this. We talk about mental toughness nowadays. It's like the biggest crave. When I grew up, it was just suck it up.
Yeah.
It just make it happen. And you had to figure out. It's called figuring out, man. And all these nuggets that I gained along the way, that's what it's about. It wasn't about the trident. It wasn't about all those daggone medals. It wasn't about any of that. And that's why I ain't even talking about being a SEAL, you know? I mentioned stories. People, one time about it didn't define me. The journey getting there was harder than going through it. You know? So that's the thing about life, man. It's that journey that makes you who you are. The things I do in life, most of life, you're alone. You may have a whole support crew around you. But up here, you're alone. And all those feelings of pain that I had, I was in the worst pain of my life, ever. And some of them think, man, you're just crazy. No, when you've done that, and you figured out so much on your own, and all that pain and discomfort I had that tub laying there, passing out everything, was confirmation of what I just figured out. I just figured out the code. I figured out a code that many people aren't looking for. And I want it to be known. I want that feeling. This was confirmation. This was like a scientist's notes. The notes were here. The notes were all this paper. It was a confirmation. And no one at that time could understand what I just done. I cracked the code to human potential in myself. And I would say like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. But I just did. So it's that quiet place. It's that place by yourself. It's those hours and years and decades by yourself.
1,000 till tomorrow.
In the grip of life. When life has you by the throat and choking you out, and you're sitting there